Ole Miss wound up getting to 500, 5-5, thanks to a win over Indiana in their bowl game. This team went 4-5 in the SEC, which is not bad at all in year one under Lane Kiffin. You saw a lot of improvement on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it was pretty much immediately apparent that Lane Kiffin was going to get this thing going for Ole Miss just because of what he was able to do with this offense. They were very explosive. They scored a bunch of points on Alabama. Remember that game that went into the fourth quarter? And they showed a lot of progress from 2019 to 2020. But what happens in 2021? Does this team get better or do they get worse? I'm going to give you my early thoughts on this team and tell you whether or not I think it's going to be a better year for them in 21 or a little bit worse. So we look at the roster, and of course Matt Corral will be back at quarterback. You've also got John Rice Plumlee, who originally was a quarterback, but we'll see what they do with him. He played some wide receiver last year, lined up in the backfield some. He is a weapon, and if they use him correctly and they have a full off season to kind of figure some things out with him, he can definitely be a playmaker for them. In the run game, everyone is back. Jerry and Ely is back. Snoop Connor is back. They should be in great shape at running back, and they've also got young freshman, or he was a freshman last year, Henry Parrish, another guy that maybe could step up for them in the future. So they're in good shape in the run game. Wide receivers, they lose Elijah Moore. That's a big one. We're talking about one of the top wide receivers in the country last year. He had a monster year. So they're going to miss him. The good news for them is Braylon Sanders and Ontario Drummond, both seniors. They're going to be back at the wide receiver spot. So you get those guys back. Jonathan Mingo will be back. So they'll be okay. It's just going to be figuring out who's going to take that spot from Elijah Moore. Who's going to be that go-to wide receiver for them? DeMarcus Gregory, he transferred out. Wasn't really a factor for them last year. Kenny Yeboah at tight end is also going to be gone. That's a big loss. He was actually one of the top tight ends in the country last year. Didn't get a ton of attention, but they're going to miss him. So really on the offensive side of the ball, it's replacing Elijah Moore and Kenny Yeboah. Those are the two losses that they have got to come up with an answer for. And then on the offensive line, they're in pretty good shape. Royce Newman is gone. He was a senior. Other than that, everyone's really coming back. So this is an offensive line that should improve, should get better. And if they're able to do that, they're going to run the football better. They're going to protect Corral better. It's really all starts with that offensive line. And again, if they can improve there with the talent they have and with Lane Kiffin calling plays, Ole Miss should be very good once again offensively. Now let's talk about the defense. It was not a great year for them in 2020. I mean, let's just be honest about it. This defense really struggled at times. They had a lot of guys out at times with COVID and injuries, and they had some wide receivers that they wound up moving into the secondary during the year. So it was just a rough year for this defense. But you look at what's coming back up front on the defensive line. Pretty much everyone's back. Ryder Anderson transferred. That's going to be a pretty big loss. So you lose him, but everyone else will be back. Sam Williams, who's kind of a hybrid linebacker defensive end, he will be back. A great pass rusher, and everyone else on this defensive line coming back. You look at the middle, you got guys coming back there as well. So really across the board on the defensive line, they should be in good shape. It was not a great defensive line last year, but we'll see if they improve over the offseason. Linebackers, all of them will be back, including Lakia Henry, Momo Sanogo. So those are two big-time guys returning at linebacker. Jacquez Jones will be back for them as well. This is a linebacker group that I think was really underrated. Maybe the strength of this defense, and with all of them coming back, that means they have a chance to be pretty good at that position. And then in the secondary, they had a couple guys enter the transfer portal. Lacavius Daniel, cornerback, he entered. Jay Stanley, safety, he entered the transfer portal. But Jalen Jones, a senior, is going to be back. Let's see, AJ Finley, a safety, had a big year last year. He'll be back. Keidron Smith at corner will be back. Ja'Cory Hawkins will be back. Miles Battle will be back at corner. So everyone pretty much coming back in the secondary. And don't forget about Otis Reese, transfer from Georgia. This was a big-time recruit. Didn't play most of the year, but he did come on late and really, I think, made an immediate impact for them in the secondary. So now that they have a full off season, if they can kind of stay healthy, keep things together, this defense has a chance, I think, to improve. Now, they're not going to be a top 10 defense, or maybe not even finish in the top half of the SEC, but they have a chance to be a middle of the pack type defense, and I think they can be pretty solid on that side of the ball. good enough with an explosive offense to where they can win a lot of games. And this is a team that I think absolutely 100% will be better in 2021. I don't have any doubts about that. It's just a question of how much better will they be. This is a team that I think has the potential, and I'm not saying they'll do this, but I think there is enough there to where this team has the potential to finish number 2 in the SEC West. I really think there are enough pieces there to where if it all comes together for them, they could have a big year. Now, I don't know that they're going to be capable of knocking off Alabama and winning the SEC West, but I think they could finish up there at number 2 or number 3 potentially. And I think at worst, this is probably a team that finishes 4th or 5th like they did last year in the SEC West. I think they're going to have a good year. I think the team will be better. It's just going to come down to really replacing Elijah Moore and Kenny Yeboah in the passing game. Those are the 2 guys they have to replace. Other than that, everyone will be back pretty much. They should be better. And Ole Miss could be a very dangerous team in 2021.